everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. Check them out. But first, stay on this one. So, welcome back to another episode of Debunking Anti Gunners. So, this video is this is gonna make some of y'all laugh actually, because oh man, this is one of the dumbest things that somebody can really say when it comes to the Second Amendment and gun laws. So, you read the title, you saw the thumbnail. I got it right first try this time. Let's go. Let's get right into it. On this episode of Debunking Anti Gunners, and I will tell you guys who said this before I even go into it. It was Joy Behar from The View. All right, so when black people get guns is when the gun laws in this country will change, is more so what she said. I did have to edit it down so that way, I could actually post the full title and y'all get the sentiment of what she was saying. Her argument is that black people don't have guns, and when they do get guns is when, everybody else, like all the white people, is what she's trying to say, are going to be so scared because the black people have guns that they'll then enact gun control to make sure black people don't have guns. See, here's the funny part of it. This is what this is what really, makes me laugh about it. For one, any longtime fan knows that I literally used to do a Second Amendment podcast with somebody who was part black. Now, that's besides the point here, but that should just show you that black people in this country have guns. I know a lot of black people in this country that have guns. I know a lot of Hispanic people in this country that have guns. I know a lot of white people in this country that have guns. I'm pretty sure if I do some looking around, I can find some Asian people that I know that are probably strapped. It's not a race thing. The Second Amendment is literally written for all people of all color. Now, the funniest thing is that her argument is that, oh yeah, well, people will be so racist that they'll want to enact gun control because they don't want black people to have guns. That's what the Democrats did. That's the first form of gun control. The first form of gun control, all right, was literally to keep black people from being armed. Like, what? So your argument is that gun control, which is good, would only be enacted by, the racist white people once black people get guns, but you're the one who's voting for gun control, and the first form of gun control was restricting black people from having guns because they didn't look at black people as the same as white people. What? None of that makes sense. What kind of stupid argument is that to even try to say? One of the biggest gun YouTubers in the world is black. Colion Noir. There are so many black people that own guns, it is absolutely ridiculous. And we're just talking legally speaking. All right, we can also sit here, and all of us who are real enough to acknowledge where a majority of gun crime comes from, which it comes from gang violence, comes from the streets. They also tend to own guns. Now, here's the funny thing. Oh well, when black people get guns, who's in a majority of the hoods? What race is the majority in most housing projects? I'm sure there are some, exceptions to the rule where you're like, oh yeah, well, this one is a mostly, Hispanic housing project, but a majority of, housing projects in hoods is black people. And that's not that big of a deal. But guess what? The people who are also in the hood that are doing crime, right? They got guns too, and they don't have them legally. So let's just dispel that argument right there that, oh, black people don't have guns. And when they get them is when gun control will be enacted. Bro, I personally want every legal citizen to own a firearm. That is me personally. I don't care what color you are. If you legally are able to own a firearm and you are a citizen of the United States, I believe there should be zero reason why you shouldn't have a gun. Nobody thinks that. Nobody who pushes the Second Amendment and is a Second Amendment absolutist would ever say, oh yeah, well, I think, black people shouldn't have guns. If they get guns is when we want to, start making laws restricting it. No, the Second Amendment says shall not be infringed. Personally speaking, I don't care if somebody who is purple has guns. I don't care if somebody who is white, red, yellow, purple, black, brown, green, blue, red. I don't care. gray. I don't care what color you are. You know what I mean? If you want to exercise your Second Amendment right, that's all more power to you. And this all falls under an argument. I actually talked on, in more detail about really, what this boils down to. But this boils down to the ridiculous stereotype that conservatives or Republicans, aka people who, believe in and exercise their Second Amendment rights, are racist. But what most people don't realize is that what president freed the slaves, guys? It takes 2 seconds to think about that. You already know it off the top of your head. Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican president. He was the first. Like, the other 15 presidents before Abraham Lincoln were not Republicans. Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican president, and he's the one that freed the slaves. The entire argument that people who own guns, the Second Amendment community, which primarily is made up of Republicans and conservatives, is racist, it doesn't make any sense. We're literally fighting against gun control, which is what Democrats who wanted to push so that way black people couldn't own guns originally. That's the first form of gun control. We literally are the ones saying, yo, gun control is bad. Here's a perfect example. You guys used it to try to restrict somebody from a different race from being able to own firearms. Oh, but, you shouldn't be able, you're evil, you're a monster. No, you're absolutely ridiculous. All right. The simple matter of fact that people try making this argument, oh, well, I'm going on a rant here. All right. When Joy Behar made this statement, the funny thing about that, if I'm not mistaken, literally there is a girl on The View who is black who's like, yeah, I got a gun. Like, what? So I'm sorry, but that's the dumbest argument I've ever heard, when she literally was sitting next to, or not next to maybe, but within an extremely close proximity and talking to somebody who is a black woman who owns a gun. What? Do you see what I mean? The argument that she made makes no sense. And truth be told, it screams ignorance and honestly racism. I'm not the kind of person to call somebody racist. I'm really not. You know what I mean? I'm the kind of person that makes some really messed up jokes. So believe me, I'm the one who's not the type of person to call somebody racist. But the truth of the matter is that the argument that, oh yeah, black people can't have guns now, means that she's still viewing them as less than white people, which is something that it's literally what she's trying to claim Republicans and conservatives do. But whatever, that makes no sense here. I know a lot of black people who own guns. I think everybody can make the same argument. As a matter of fact, there's literally several people who watch my videos who I know for a fact are black and own firearms. Like, the whole argument that when black people own guns is when gun laws will change in this country is absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense, as black people already own guns in this country. Where no one's ever stopped black people in particular. No one's ever said, oh, you can't get this gun because you're black, bruh. No one's ever done that. That's literally not what it is. The first act of gun control, which was pushed by Democrats, was to do that in specific. And yet us for saying, no, we don't want any form of gun control, because gun control has often been used to restrict people, whether it's of different races, different religious beliefs. Actually, no, not religious beliefs. I'll take that one back because that one is false. Whether it's of different races, whether it's of different political beliefs, whatever it is, all right, people, it's like when you enact gun control laws, who is it protecting here? It's not protecting citizens. It's not doing any of that. Truth be told, especially, it's kind of funny that when people make this argument that black people don't have guns, I believe that if you're in the hood, you definitely need to be armed. I'm sorry, but guess what? I ain't about to go down to the hood without a gun. You tripping. I am not going anywhere that I know something might go down. One, if I have a choice to not go there, I'm probably not going to go there. But if I don't have a choice, you think I'm going to go there without a gun? Nah. That's ridiculous. Black people own firearms. The argument that when they start owning firearms, gun laws will change in the country, it doesn't make any sense, as they already own guns. What? And the gun laws are starting to change a tiny bit, but not in their favor. It's starting to change in our favor a little bit because the Supreme Court is realizing in some aspects, wow, this is a direct infringement. This is literally what the Second Amendment wrote and spoke of and said we can't do. I'm sorry, I know I went off on a rant here, but that statement really like pissed me off. I understand. Look, I'm an Italian here with some gorgeous blue eyes. No one can deny that. All right, I'm not sitting here. All I'm saying is that when you make the argument that all gun owners are racist and that they will sit there and just give up their guns and enact gun control laws and be okay with it when black people start owning firearms is the dumbest, most racist thing I've ever heard. Like it really is. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, considering black people own firearms, Hispanics own firearms, Asians own firearms, white people own firearms. What else do you want me to say here? Pretty much people of every race own firearms in this country. There's nothing wrong with that, and nobody has sat here and tried restricting it because of their color or saying that, oh, well, if these people start getting guns, we're going to sit here and try to restrict that. No, nobody who believes in the Second Amendment has ever said that. With that being said, I think that about wraps it up for this video. Y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all. And if you agree with me that has to be the dumbest statement you've ever heard come out of somebody's mouth, Joy Behar, you should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. You have no clue what's going on in our country if you think that once black people start owning guns is when people who will support the Second Amendment will give it up. That's not the case. Black people already own guns. No one cares. If you agree with me, make sure to check out all my other videos. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.